Whether you are a stay-at-home mom of one or a busy mom of many, I think we can all agree that parenting and homemaking is hard. And then you throw in something like homeschooling and maybe even working. There are some time management strategies that you can put into place to help you manage all of the things. Welcome to my channel today. My name's Erin. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 kids, ages 5 to almost 13. And we have been homeschooling from the very beginning. I'm gonna break this up into 3 different categories. One with some of my top tips for homemaking, some homeschool tips, and then work at home strategies that you can put into place to help you manage your time effectively. First of all, I need to give you a little disclaimer that while all of these things I 100% believe are true and powerful and effective, I am not always the best at all of them simultaneously. These tips can really cross over into different categories. Let's jump into my time management tips for homemaking. My first tip is to wake up early. And I know there's a bunch of you out there that don't want to hear this. I feel you. Over time, I have gradually worked my way into being a little bit more of a morning person because I know how powerful and helpful it can be to have that early morning quiet time before the chaos of the day ensues. For me, having quiet time in the morning where I can spend some time in the Bible and in prayer and just kind of getting my act together for the day before the kids get up is just critical to how the rest of my day goes. My biggest suggestion in this particular area, if you are not naturally an early riser yourself, is to start small by maybe setting your alarm 15 minutes earlier than you normally would, and then gradually work yourself up. I guarantee you it will make a big difference into how productive your day can go and how your mindset can be just kind of grounded. My second tip is to limit your screen time. This is one of those things that I'm speaking to myself just as much as I am sharing with you because it is not easy to put that thing away. And that can be detrimental in how much we can get done throughout the day. However, there are a couple of things that we can do that can help you in this area. And the first thing is to turn off all of your notifications. Something comes up that is going to distract you and try to draw your attention away from what you should be focused on. And secondly is to get rid of apps that are causing a major time suck. For me, I have deleted Facebook, I've deleted Instagram off of my phone. I do still have access to those on my desktop computer. One other thing in this area to keep in mind is to consider when you are on your phone, is what I'm doing actually helping me? Is it building me up? Is it encouraging me? Is it helping me to be a better me? And if the answer is no, then maybe we should be reconsidering what we are spending our time on. We want to make sure that we're filling ourselves with things that are going to build us up and make us better. My third tip is to prioritize your to-dos. A helpful thing to do is to have a running list of all of the things that you know that need to get done, and then choose maybe 3 of those things that you know are things that you can do this day, and don't worry about the rest of them. If you can choose the things off of that list that are going to make you feel like you were successful in your day, get those things done. My fourth tip is to involve your kids. No matter their ages, are certainly very capable to help you do at least some of the housework. I encourage you to find ways that you can delegate some of your household tasks to your kids in order to take some of that off of your plate so that you can focus on things that are more important. My fifth tip is to buy food in bulk and meal plan. I purchase a half of a cow at a time, and then I also buy a lot of my pantry essentials in bulk from Azure Standard. So we always have a lot of our foodstuffs on hand. This is something that has been huge for me when I am on top of my game and actually doing my meal planning. I often don't plan my meals ahead and then for some reason find myself at 4 o'clock trying to figure out what I'm gonna make for dinner. As if this hasn't ever happened before. But even when I don't have my meal schedule planned out for the entire week, it has helped me tremendously to know that I have food already in bulk that I can easily take meat out of the freezer because it is already there and have a healthy meal on the table for my family. My next tip is to plan an errand day. Usually for us, I try to have this fall on our unschool day. I like to multi-purpose my trips into town to make the best use of our time. So this is a day where we do things like our weekly grocery shopping. We make a trip to the library so the kids can pick out new books. This is also the day where I would try to schedule doctor's appointments or things like that so that we can then have the other 4 school days a week to be focused on our schoolwork and our things that we need to get done at home. Okay, let's move on to my time management tips for homeschooling. My first tip is to use a family style or independent curriculum options. That takes so much off of your plate as the homeschool teacher to not have to teach every single subject independently to every single child, as well as trying to make use of curriculum that can be very independent led for your children. That is just a complete game changer for your homeschool. My second homeschooling time management tip is to establish a homeschool routine. This is key for making sure you have an easy, smooth flow to your day and to your week. It really doesn't matter what that homeschool routine is going to look like. You just need to decide what is going to work best for you and have that established to make sure that you know what you need to do and how you're going to go about doing all of those things. I've got a whole video that I will link up here that is about how we use time blocking for our homeschool, and that has been just a huge time saver and sanity saver in our homeschool as well. My third homeschool tip is outsourcing. There are certain things that can be very effective, especially if you are a working parent as well and have maybe a little bit less time to dedicate to homeschooling. Your kids can do online, where maybe they are taking a class online or it's a curriculum that is online based. That can save you a lot of time, as well as things like being okay with utilizing educational documentaries or TV shows or things like that that you can have to fall back on if you get really busy and just don't have time to teach a certain subject on a certain day. You can plug something on and feel good about knowing that your kids are still getting the education that they need while it's taking something off of your plate for that period of time. And I have a video that I'll link here as well that is all about our favorite educational shows that we have utilized in our homeschool. My fourth homeschooling tip is to limit your out of the home activities. It can be really hard to say no when there are so many amazing opportunities and things out there available at our fingertips. But we have to be careful to make sure that we are not getting so involved with things outside of the home that we then don't have time to do the things that we need to do at home. The fifth homeschooling time management tip is to structure play into your day. There are so many tremendous benefits of playtime for your kids. No one's brain can just be on full speed all day long. As well as if they can be outside playing and doing something for a little while, that can free up a little bit of your time then to get some things done around the house, either for work or homemaking things that need to happen while they're kind of out of your hair for a little while. Okay, let's move on to my working from home time management tips. Again, disclaimer here, I am a part-time work from home mother. I spend probably 20 to 25 hours a week working here at home, managing this YouTube channel. My first tip for this is to block out work time. It is important to have time set aside and established where you know that, okay, these are the hours where I'm gonna be focused on what I need to do for work, and then the rest of my time can be dedicated to my kids and my home and homeschooling and all of those other kinds of things, so that then when it is time to do that work, we can completely focus on the work that we need to get done. And then as well as you can set some boundaries in place so that your kids know not to bother mom when it's time for mom to get some work done. For me, a lot of my work happens in the evenings and on the weekends when it is time where the kids are away. For you, the time that this happens throughout the day may be different than what it is for me. Having that dedicated allocated work time is key. My second tip is to batch similar tasks. If you have a list of to-do things, say you have emails you have to do, you have phone calls you have to make, you have appointments that you need to schedule, if you can have a list of all of those things and do all of the similar things grouped together, then that can make a much better use of your time. It takes your brain quite a bit of time to completely switch gears and to be able to focus on the task at hand. So when you can focus on a similar type of task and get all of those things knocked out at once, that can be tremendously beneficial. For example, for me, when I am doing my videos, I try to spend a good deal of time researching topics and coming up with titles and things like that all together. And then when possible, I try to shoot at least 2 videos at a time. So all the time spent setting up here only has to happen once. It can be ready and I can shoot more than one video, and that helps me to get a lot more done. And then editing can take place later during my scheduled work time in the evenings. My third tip for work from home moms is to set boundaries. Things might be a little bit different if you have a boss that tells you what you need to do when, but if you are the one calling the shots, you need to make sure that you are establishing boundaries for yourself for what is an acceptable amount of time that I'm going to be spending on work, and making sure that you don't go over that time so that you have time to still be involved in family activities and other things that need to get done as well. When you're working for yourself, it's very easy to spend far too much time doing things that can take you away from things that might be more important. Really what I'm trying to say is that you have to know what to say no to. So for example, for me to be able to be effective here on YouTube and be able to produce content regularly, that means I cannot be as active on Facebook or Instagram as I would like to be, because it just takes too much time to do all of those things. And I know for me personally, if I am focused on having to do things for all of those different platforms, then that's going to take away from my time that I really need to and want to spend with my family. Decide for you what those boundaries are and make sure that they are set in place and established for yourself. My fourth tip for working from home is to get the hard things done first. You know, that thing that's looming over you that you don't want to do, that you are just dreading, just get it out of the way. If you leave those things looming over you and just keep procrastinating on them, it's amazing how much mental space that takes up, which then makes you less effective at what you actually should be focusing on. I know for me personally, if I can just get the things done that I really don't want to do and get them out of the way, then I have so much more focus and mental clarity for the things that I need to and want to be working on later. My fifth tip is to break large projects into smaller pieces. When you look at this huge project that you need to do, it can seem really overwhelming, but if we can find ways to break it down into smaller incremental projects that you can focus on one small thing at a time, that can then start to build momentum to getting more and more done. I'm still working on teaching myself to break those into smaller, manageable tasks that take significantly less time, so I at least am ticking away at that thing that just seems huge. And then I know that eventually over time it will get done, and then once it's done, it feels so much better to get those things out of the way. But breaking those things into smaller increments makes a big difference in how that goes. Another tip that can go for all of these categories is to give yourself grace. The reality in our house is that there's pretty much always a stack of unopened mail on the counter and a load or 4 loads of laundry waiting to be folded in my bedroom. It's so important to recognize that none of us are going to be perfect at all of these things. We have to be okay with the fact that it may not be perfect. If we can just work on trying to be just incrementally better each day at these kind of things, then that can go a long way to building a lot of momentum to improving in all of those areas. But we have to keep in mind that we have to give ourselves grace when we fail, because it is inevitable that we will fail at one time or another, and we have to know that that's okay, that the Lord His grace is sufficient for us, and we can pick ourselves back up and try again the next day. If you're interested in some more ideas about how you can create a more peaceful homeschool, click on this video right here. What time management tips would you add to this list? I'd love to get some more ideas from you. Please drop those in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching today. Bye-bye.